Working on the Ford here was a lot of just repairing and cleaning up old stuff that was either done poorly or rusted. It wasn't a lot of customization, just fixing stuff to make it more presentable and usable, whether it be torch cuts or hammer marks or just grinders, stuff that somebody did in a racing kind of field that was more get it done rather than have it look good and work well.
Karl's pretty hands-on, so he's in here telling us things that he wants or he needs, or he's calling us and telling us throughout the day. It's not something like other customers kind of leave a lot of that stuff up to us. Karl knows exactly what he wants, and it's real easy because I've been working here for 16 years that I know what he wants, a lot of that stuff too. So this car was right along those lines. He wanted everything to be perfect, even better than it was from the factory finish-wise, even though places that were pounded in, like the rear quarters that were pounded to put wider tires on. He wanted that left because that's what they did back in the day from the factory to there. The fiberglass fenders are still the original fiberglass fenders, original fiberglass hood, aluminum front bumper, but they just had to be bodywork perfect. So fiberglass just takes some extra work to do to get it right and straight.
These kind of cars, when they're done this way, you got to hand block almost everything. There's not a lot of DA work on this. It doesn't give you a good outcome, so everything's basically hand blocked, and all the body lines are taped and made sure they're true and straight, and you got to stand back and check them, hang all the trim, and make sure it's all lined up properly. And if there's an issue, then you got to hand sand it straight. And with this car, the way the body line is, the shape of the contours on the edge of it, there's not really blocks that are made to conform to that, so you got to get creative, and then you got to double check your work after you have sanded it smooth and check the reflection and make sure your reflection looks good, your shine lines all look even and everything. So it's not like you can just run a DA down the side of it and it's prepped and ready for paint. So it's definitely a big process of sanding it gently and not gouging into anything, because then you got a bigger problem on your hands.
Back in the day in 60s, 64, they didn't have unleaded fuel. So like the exhaust seats and the cylinder heads, they were just regular cast. They were not hardened exhaust seats like there is today. So we usually replace the guides and the seats with a hardened exhaust seat and a new exhaust valve that'll work with today's unleaded fuels. So we decided to look for aluminum block heads and so forth, and Carol Shelby's place was where we ended up. They had some really good bolt-on cylinder heads, and we utilized those components, and then of course you got to start finding the crank, the rods, the pistons, everything else for it. So it's a pretty big project this time of year.